Black or white, male or female, rich or poor, gay or straight. What's the difference? Number 14 and number 41 are on a mission to improve the unity of the world, one person at a time. Welcome to the 14 and 41 Unity Show.
Hello, I'm Alexis Hornbuckle, number 14.
And I'm Matt Gersper, number 41.
And I'm Jedidiah Collins, number 45. We're all different, but made from the same stuff.
Yeah, right on, Jed. 14 and I are super excited to have you on the 14 and 41 show, broadcasting from WYTV7 in the Queen City, Charlotte, North Carolina. So, Jed, welcome.
You know, I could not be more honored to be here. Alexis, Matt, just thank you for the opportunity to share my message and to introduce myself to your community.
Excellent. So take just a few minutes and tell our audience about the exciting things you're doing to contribute to the world these days.
Yeah, absolutely. So for most of my life, as a lot of us are, I was, identified as an athlete, a football player in particular. Coming from my background, I got to play in the National Football League for 7 seasons. And while a lot of people kind of say, oh, wow, that's a tremendous career, where I get to hold my hat is being a great failure. I was cut 12 times, told over and over again my dream was going to be over. But I really tried and challenged myself to find what the veterans in the locker room had that I did not have. And I tried to steal it from them, or I tried to take some of their behaviors and principles and mold it into my own life, leading to the success I was able to have in the National Football League. But my time in the NFL alerted me to a large gap in my education, and that gap was around financial literacy. With my first paycheck coming and going, as most athletes do, I woke up in anxiety and stress and knots, worrying about what my life was going to be after the game of football. I do like to disclose my first check went to an engagement ring, and after 10 plus years, it turned out to be a good investment, but it was a very poor financial decision. And so today I take not only my relationship and education in money, as I went and got a certification of financial planning, but I translate that knowledge through stories, through analogies, and really trying to empower young people and young professionals to use money. And my company is called Money Vehicle. The book is called Your Money Vehicle. And now we're out trying to just bridge that gap of education and knowledge.
Good stuff.
That's awesome.
Take us back 10 years, and what were you doing in 2010? Give us some perspective of time here.
Oh, yeah. So 2010, I just got down to New Orleans. Who dat for any of you down there. But I got there the year after the Super Bowl and, got to experience some of that the Super Bowl highlights, but didn't get a ring myself. But my position was a fullback. And part of my transition from college to the NFL, where I was a tight end type of player in college, I would have to humble myself and become a true selfless player in the fullback position. And so that was a mindset shift. It was also a physical shift. And it was really what was my requirements for my job and understanding how I was going to be measured. And so truly down in 2010 in New Orleans is where I started to excel. And one of the principles I took from a veteran in the locker room was the idea of stealing inches on a daily basis and looking for little efficiencies in my day. And it's a much longer story on how he taught me this, but taking this concept, I looked from Monday through Saturday, and I saw 6 days a week where I could steal an inch a day, leading to 6 inches. And that 6 inches was very significant for me in particular as a fullback, because on Sundays, we would measure my success on plays by a 6-inch battle. And going into a collision and going into a block, if I can move my guy 6 inches, it's the National Football League. If I could just move him back 6 inches, that was a plus for me. And so that mindset shift from stealing that from a veteran, I would go each day of the week, Monday through Friday, and I would steal those 6 inches. So on Sunday, I could go out and I could win that battle. And truly, that's what led to me becoming the number 1 ranked fullback in the world. And it was really starting with just that little bit.
That's good. That's great stuff. You and I are natural enemies. I was a strong safety.
Yes,
So
we are.
in spite of that, this is all about unity. So I'm setting that aside. And then the second observation is your stealing inches is similar to a Kaizen term. Small incremental steps add up over time to yield big results.
I love
And
it.
that's what you are doing. Good stuff. Alexis, let me kick it over to you.
Jed, I'm just wondering, like, what was your initial response when you first heard about Rafroot? And then what do you think about like our website, our team gear, and what are the hopes that you have by sharing your unity story and joining our mission to improve the unity of the world one person at a time?
Well, first, when I was introduced to it, it was one of those moments that it was like, it's about time. And not that it's about time that what it is a simple concept, but it's about time that the modern day athlete is evolving. And in saying that, we understand that once your playing days are done, your mindset and that evolution does not stop. It actually probably accelerates into who you are becoming. And so when I see the group, the site, the message that you are trying to deliver, it is this idea that we have all separated ourselves based on our personal skill sets, our personal disciplines, and based on all these attributes we had on a field, on a court, in a pool, wherever yours was. But the unity side to it is we have evolved as individuals into this understanding that we do have a platform, that we do have a message. And I love seeing this modern day athlete evolution that former players have started to speak up, current players are speaking up, and we are taking this opportunity to not just identify ourselves as successful in a game, but as successful in life. And that comes with that holistic view of fulfillment and really being able to speak about and contribute to something you believe in. So this identification with me comes from somebody who's personally chasing a passion right now in life, but also somebody who has dealt with a lot of the issues that you all are really approaching head on. And so I'm just honored to kind of be able to step in line and support.
Well, definitely thank you for joining us. What do you think about the gear if you were able to check out the website?
You know, one, you're talking to the wrong person. My wife has dressed me for 10 years. There you go. So
there's the logo. Let me move out the way. You might be able to see it a little bit. Yeah.
I'm not the one to talk about swag, though. Branding and being able to put on yourself, hey, this is something I believe in and I welcome questions about. I think that idea of us wearing, instead of a number and a jersey, us wearing brands that we want to represent, I think that's a brilliant, maneuver. And, I will be proud to be wearing it from now forward.
Awesome, Jay. Thank you.
Right on. So I love your unity story, and it's completely unique from every other athlete's so far. You gave us a story titled "A Letter to My White Children." Interesting topic or title. So Jed, share the highlights of the story, the top one or two messages that you hope to convey to everyone who reads it. Don't give too much, just enough to pique our interest.
All righty. So why I choose that title, A Letter to My White Children, is because as most of you are seeing me on screen, I have grown up most of my life being designated to the white side of the group. And whether it's in football, whether it's in school, socially, wherever it is, that has always been kind of the social influence of where they've landed me. And my daughters are growing up in looking even whiter than I do, if you will say that. And so what I wanted them to alert to is the fact that I am not just white. I have never discovered myself as being a white person. I've always seen myself as being mixed, despite the social kind of pressures of questions or whatnot. I've always seen the separation in my family and believed that that was enough of a measurement for me. And as the generations have gone on, the percentages, the classifications continue to evolve and change. My father being Creole, being, in that Southern gumbo mixture of what exactly is this race. That is something that he's pursued his entire life. I've gotten 19 different descriptions of what exactly that race of people is. But I have always grown up because when my dad was raised, it was, if you are black, you are black. And so I grew up believing my father was black and my mother was white. And talking to my girls saying, you will be identified as white your entire life. But what that does is it gives you an entrance into a world that many minorities and many other races will never be invited into. And it's into an environment of trust. And in that circle, you will see what the truth is behind a lot of people's facades. And that has been really true and transparent in my life in particular. Again, my family is divided. My mother's family does not integrate, socialize, come to reunions with my father's family because of one issue, race. And that was the beginning of my interpretation of how race works, how strong it is, and why it's always been so confusing for me looking like I do and identifying on both sides of the fence. And so what I want my daughters to understand is that this interesting aspect of your life is going to be a challenge continually going forward, but you are also going to have an opportunity to truly make a change and an impact from the origin. And so that was my message to myself and to people who are dealing with this issue is if you are accepted into this community and if you do see what the reality and the truth is behind the closed doors, that is where you can make your impact and have your voice be heard.
Awesome.
That's powerful.
So one quick question. Since I asked you to write your Unity story, and then since you decided to submit the letter you had already written to your daughters as your Unity story, what's been your experience, your feelings that since you've decided to share your very intimate and important thoughts about unity, not just with your daughters, but with the whole world? So once you made that decision, how have you been feeling?
I have felt proud from my family reaching out who have read it. And, you know, again, even amongst our family, we have the entire spectrum of what this feels and is treated like. But to have a lot of them reach out to me and say, you nailed it. You discussed the issues, you discussed the approach, and you really shined a light on how everybody in this situation that feels like, well, this is too much and this is not the right, where and how we can live and make an impact. That has been truly my, you know, as a young writer, as somebody who, you know, is not confident in his writing ability, to have, you know, my family members, cousins, uncles, aunts, even my brother reach out and say, this was by far the best thing you've written, because I felt it. I felt the emotion. I felt the confusion. And that has been one of the most liberating things, is to say I've written something of importance, and, you know, that my family kind of supports that. That's been a really neat piece to me to share.
We are excited to get it out to the world, my friend. So, Jeb, we're going to take a commercial break to tell everyone about 3 things. A super amazing health device called Zona Plus, how to get an online discount, and how their purchase will support a big donation to WYTV7. Mr. Happy Living here. I love good things made by good people. That's why I love Zona Plus, the world's first software-controlled handheld device that improves cardiovascular health. You're going to love it too. I use mine almost every day to keep my blood pressure right where it should be. What surprised me though is this little device has been adding muscle to my biceps too. I walk around all day feeling pumped. Check them out at Zona.com. Use coupon code HAPPY for $50 off. Plus, for every order placed during the month of October, I'll donate another $50 to WYTV7.
Welcome back, everybody. I want to give a special shout out to October sponsors, Zona Plus, and as always, Happy Living. Jed, let's get right back into it. I like to, get right into it.
Keep it on point.
How have the lessons that you've learned as an athlete, in particular, like your Unity lessons, helped you to become a better and more successful person?
Wow. So it's amazing. Just yesterday, a former teammate and coach posted out a picture of my high school football coaches. They got together for the first time in several years, and I looked at that lineup, and all I could comment was, these men changed my life. Not only mine, but many, many lives, other than mine. And the power of sports, the power of coaching, the power of leadership is just tremendous. And so one of the ideas that I've had and continue to write to myself is, what have I taken from the game of football beyond just what was out on the field? And I shared, the concept of inches, which is tremendous. The idea of where and how I began my journey, and truly every pro's mindset is around that first step of confidence and believing in what you can do, building trust amongst your team and having people believe in who you will be showing up every day. And then number 3, possibly the most important, is identifying what your name is going to be associated with and how you can add value. And so what I loved about veterans is they would always make plays. They would make a play that made you see their name, made you say and see who they were. And that value add mindset has traveled with me throughout business, throughout my personal life, throughout my financial life. And so seeing that mindset of confidence, trust, and value has been very, very powerful in my journey. But perhaps the number one item of success that I came across, again, in 12 different NFL locker rooms today, as I get to interview entrepreneurs, CEOs, and professional successes, I realize the discipline of prioritizing what you want most over what you want now will continually lead you on a journey to success. And I really attune to the idea of prioritizing. So many people look at these now moments and say, well, I have to sacrifice that. And I'm here to say the ones I got to experience, the ones I got, be 6 feet from greatness, they never sacrifice. They just always understood where their goals were. First off, they had goals, and that's a tremendous skill in and of itself. Mm-hmm. But then they were able to look at decisions on a daily basis, a weekly, monthly, annual basis, and start to say, nope, I'm okay not having this because I wanted my most. Yeah. And so that measurement of most over now was one of those things that I've taken and I've had to implement as a new entrepreneur, as a business, and then as an employee of my own business and other businesses, measuring that on a day-to-day basis. So sports has been a major influencer in how I've found success on the field, but how I've transcended it and translated it into off the field as well. And that's something that I look at more student athletes and people transitioning away from their sport and just beg them to realize this is all within you. You just have to have the story or the words to see it.
Yep.
Good stuff. So tell us a memorable story from one of your teams when you realized, as you wrote in your story, we are one team as people.
That's a great question. So it would have to be, we are one team as people. It would always have to venture down to New Orleans because New Orleans is such an interesting cultural experience and climate. It was truly understanding that the holidays for professional players were difficult. Thanksgiving, there's football going on. We were often the team playing in the Thanksgiving Day game. And so you saw the holiday and you saw the separation, people away from their families, people away from their upbringings or what they're comfortable with. But it was always most impressive to me to see the veterans, the guys on the team who had no idea of the color line or a color divide. and would openly invite the undrafted rookie who had just walked in the room last week to the 9-year Pro Bowl guy who still was, unmarried and didn't have a family with him, over for that holiday meal. And I was, one of the fortunate ones to be invited to those situations early in my career, and then was able to kind of start to pay it forward and have guys in my humbled home for some of them. But that was always one of those things where I got to see the idea of unity beyond anything else other than human beings wanting to share in what we all love is our holidays, and this one being a Thanksgiving or whatnot. But I love that down in New Orleans, especially because the veterans who had been there a while definitely got some of the Louisiana flavor and would have some interesting food at their tables, which was okay with me. My dad's family's Louisiana, so seafood gumbo was a welcome treat for me.
Beautiful, delicious.
Yeah.
Okay, quickly, a bold prediction. Which of your teammates from that team, so that we're down in New Orleans, will follow your lead and share their unity story with us? And do not be afraid to say Drew Brees. That's your choice.
You know what? I would go. Drew's a tremendous leader. I love Drew. I would go with somebody who I always admired for being able to, again, transcend. And there's a lot of lines in football, whether it's white, black, offense, defense, veteran, rookie. He treated everyone, front office, equipment guy, the same. And he was one of those guys that I truly admired, and I think would have a wonderful one being from Alabama. That's where he went to college. Roman Harper.
Roman.
Right.
I love
Roman
him.
is that guy.
I love him and his wife, his family. Okay, I'm sorry.
Yes. So no,
Get on, Alexis.
Beautiful family. And he was just always one of those human beings that people love to be around. And truly, if you looked at somebody who is uniting the world, I would put him in that category.
Awesome. Alexis, let me send it over to you to have some fun here.
Oh, yes, my fun time for the day. All right, so this is the part that I ask questions right off the top of my head. I need answers right off the top of your head in less than about, let's say, 3 to 5 seconds. So really the first thing that pops up in your head, okay?
Okay.
All right, perfect. How old were you when you started playing sports?
4.
What was your
I had
favorite
older
sport
brothers.
outside of football?
Oh, basketball. Both my brothers played D1. My dad was drafted to the NBA.
Who was the best athlete in your house growing up?
Athlete would be the middle brother, Jake. He had the most natural athleticism. Lenny was the most disciplined. I was the fearless one because I lost the most, so I wasn't afraid of anything.
I like that. That's a good way to take that. What's your favorite food?
Gumbo always reminds me of family and holidays. Yeah, I go gumbo. Seafood gumbo is something I still look forward to.
Do you speak Creole? And if you do, give us a little something.
Not in the least. And sorry, I'm not even going to attempt it.
I was really hoping you were going to give me a little something there. Okay. Who is the person that most influenced you throughout your career?
I'd have to go to my high school coach, Bob Johnson. I transferred to Mission Viejo. He convinced me to actually keep playing football. I was going to focus on basketball. And he was the one I called at Washington State when I was frustrated with my play time and really refocused me, outside of my parents. He was the one who really had that conversation with me. And when that picture came up, I truly called him every couple of months for the last 15 years and said, I have no idea where my life would be without you. And that's the power of a great teacher and a great coach.
Love it. All right, I'm going to give you one more. What is your most embarrassing sports moment?
Oh, this is sadly an easy one. So we were getting ready for a game, a basketball game, standing ready to run around the court for warm-ups. This was going to decide who won our league championship. And I had a rumbling in my stomach that it could have gone either way. Unfortunately, as the team started to run, it went the other way. And so I had to go into the restroom and clear off my shorts and find, but this is high school. We didn't have second, third pairs. Like NFL would be like, just give me a new jersey. So I had to play that game in white shorts with a good brown stain on the backside. And I actually vividly remember the reporter after the game, because I made a free throws towards the end of the game to win. The reporter asked my head coach, like, man, looks like Collins was really nervous. He might have pooped his pants. And my coach thought it was like he was scared type of thing. He's like, oh, no, he played wonderfully, blah, blah. And I'm sitting there and looking at him like, oh, he doesn't know. That's great. So that was embarrassing. That same team, when we played them again, chanted poop stain. Like, that was something that I had people throughout the last 20 years come up to me and be like, do you remember? I'm like, yeah, I remember that moment. Yeah.
Alexis, I think we should let that be Jed's parting remarks, don't you?
I think that was perfect. That was a perfect way to end it. By far, your story so far takes the cake of most embarrassing sports moments. Thank you for sharing that publicly, by the way. All right, Jed, before I switch it back over to Matt, I just want to give you a chance to give us any parting remarks or, any comments that you want to share to our listeners.
Well, thank you. And one, I love the movement that you two have begun. And I emphasize the word begun because I think you're going to take it much farther and larger than it is today. And that's a compliment. The one thing I would say about the unity side, I love individuals. I love race. I love people who identify themselves as their upbringing, their family, and looking at their life through that lens of I am unique because. I would just challenge people to never look at others and say, even though I identify this way, I'm going to identify you this way. Internalizing and identifying versus projecting is a very different. It's symbiotic to confidence being internal and cockiness being external. So as you look at that measurement, always be proud of who you are and never judge someone based on what you think they are.
Good stuff. Alexis, I'm so happy to be doing this, aren't you?
I am. This has been great.
Holy smokes. So, folks, over the next 2 weeks, Jed's going to be responding to comments and questions and remarks from listeners to the show and readers of his Unity story, and you're going to love that story. At the end of those weeks, he's going to pick the person he feels was most impacted, and he or she is going to win a free Raffroo t-shirt or hoodie. And now, if you can hear my voice and you are inspired by this show, then please donate what you can to WYTV7. It's a wonderful 501c3 charitable nonprofit on a mission to educate, empower, and encourage. And it's doing really good works in the world. Thank you, number 45 and number 14 too. I think this is an important show. Jed, I'm inspired by your candor. I'm encouraged by the way you're leveraging your unique societal situation as a mixed race man identified as white to bring change, unity, and true equality to the world. And I'm delighted to have your voice join ours at Retired Athletes. Thank you, WYTV7, for hosting and promoting our show, so we can keep sharing stories from retired athletes like Jed, all working together to improve the unity of the world. A special thank you to our sponsors for the entire month of October, Zona Plus and Happy Living. Remember, the more you buy, the more I'll donate. So buy a Zona Plus today. It's good for your health. And most especially, thank you, viewers and listeners. Go to rafru.com to read Jed's deeply personal and moving Unity story. You'll also find links to websites and social media and all things Jedidiah Collins. Find him, friend him, buy his book about financial freedom, engage with him, and get that free t-shirt while you're at it. From Alexis and Jed and me, we love you and want you to be united, not divided. We do what we do at Retired Athletes for Radical Unity to inspire you to join our team and our mission to improve the unity of the world one heart at a time. Till next time, I'm Matt Gersper. You are awesome, and this is the 14 and 41 Unity Show.
Black or white, male or female, rich or poor, gay or straight, what's the difference? Number 14 and number 41 are on a mission to improve the unity of the world, one person at a time. The 14 and 41 Unity Show.
And we're out.